Hi friends. We're changing our pattern of communications with you a little bit this week, and I want to tell you about what you can expect from now and for the next few months at least. As we begin to look forward to being back together in person, it seems that it's time to change things up from a little bit from the way we've been doing them for the last year. So we'll have videos, not every day like we've had for the last year, but 3 times a week. On Mondays and Fridays, you can expect in your email box a video that is inspirational in some way, much like the videos that we've been doing each day. And then on Wednesdays, like today, I will record a special video that is a conversation with you about some information about the church that you may have been wondering about, or maybe haven't been wondering about because you never even thought to ask or to wonder. We began this last Sunday our series of congregational conversations called Building Again Stronger Than Ever. We have 2 more of those conversations on the next 2 Sundays, April 18th and 25th, and I hope you will join us for those conversations. But in the meantime, there are some questions that come out of those discussions in the feedback groups that happen in breakout rooms, and I want you to know that we're listening to the things you say. Each facilitator sent me their notes of conversations that happened in those groups, and there were some questions, and so some of them we answered at the time, but some of them I want to get back to you on, and in this Wednesday series of videos, this will be a chance for me to give you some more information, perhaps in answer to a question that you asked or that someone else asked. And today, for just a couple of minutes, I want to talk with you about how we communicate, because that's always an issue, isn't it? Is there too much communication about the church, more than you're asking for or need, or is there not enough? And I also know that in this pandemic time, it is very easy to feel disconnected. That because you're not seeing the staff or the pastors or even each other regularly, that it's not hard to imagine how you could feel like there are decisions being made about the church that you really don't have an opportunity to participate in or to even know about before things happen. So this is a conversation about how we communicate. And this Wednesday series will become one of the ways we communicate with you, one of the ways you can hear from me about what's going on. I plan to tell you whatever I can about how we're making decisions and some decisions that are ahead of the church and that I'm thinking about in my work as senior pastor here. It is always my intention to be straightforward and honest with you. There's really not much other than sometimes the details of personnel decisions that I'm not willing to tell you about. I expect that everything we do at this church is open for you to look at and hear about and participate in. Give us your feedback on. So if there's something you want to know, I hope you'll let me know. And we can either have a conversation then, or perhaps it's something that we can talk about in one of these Wednesday sessions. Some of you asked on Sunday about how we are communicating with people who may not regularly be on online platforms, email or Zoom calls, or perhaps watching online worship. And I know this has been a season when it's been difficult to be part of church if you're not connected online at all, because that has been our primary form of communication. But I want you also to know that we have been making phone calls. At the beginning of our pandemic shutdown, each of the pastors was making several phone calls a day with people to let them know that we wanted to stay in touch and intend to include everyone who has been part of this congregation in the continuing life of this congregation. Since then, we've had a group of volunteers that has called every person in the directory. And in fact, we've gone through the directory more than once, just trying to stay in touch with people, and particularly those who use the telephone but maybe cannot participate in Zoom meetings or other options for online communications. So that includes many of our most senior members as well. But I want to say this to you also. Sometimes we think the church should do things. If you think that there are people who are not being communicated with, I'd like to know, because I want to communicate with them. But you also are the church. And so I hope you will reach out to one another and communicate with anybody that you haven't seen or you wonder where they've been or how they've done through the last year. Maybe people who were your neighbors in the pew where you sat when we were in-person worship. We all are the church in this way. And it is our work together to stay in touch with one another and to check in with one another to see how we are. So that's communications this week. Next week, I will talk with you more about the finances of the church. And I hope you'll tune in with us to the Sunday conversation as well, building again stronger than ever. Take good care.